Hello, nice to be here once again. But I'm starting a new paper, and this is actually been driven by comments I've been receiving and emails from students who has also requested me to start performance management. So they want me to run this in parallel with financial management that I'm running. So I've decided to take that up because of the overwhelming request. So I'm going to be making videos as well for PM, even as we progress in the FM space as well. Right. So this video will be my first video on performance management. My name is Tidayo. I'll run this in a different playlist so you can follow the sequence of the lectures. So now we're speaking about performance management. And before I go into the details, for me, I always like to give you a very broad view of the paper. You should have end to end from beginning to the end of the paper before you even start studying. So you know what you are reading, and when you're reading it, you know why you're doing it and how does it fit. So the first thing I would like to talk about is where does this paper actually fit in the finance space. So we know if you have a finance division in an organization, where does performance management, where does it fit? Look at finance division, you're going to have the financial accountant. And you remember financial accountant, these are the guys that prepare financial statements. So they are involved in financial statement reporting. And in ACCA paper, this is paper F3, used to be F3, that's financial accounting. We used to call it financial, now it's not financial accounting. Yeah, then you have the paper F7, or what you call financial reporting now, right? And likewise SBR, right? So these guys, anytime you are writing any of these papers, definitely they fit into financial accounting space in finance division. But there's also a treasury in finance. And this is a paper on finance management. Yeah, financial management, which I'm already doing videos on already. And likewise, the advanced financial management paper. So these two papers support a lot of guys that are in treasury. So if you're going to be in treasury, you should be comfortable with these two papers, right? And if you want to think about it again, you remember tax, yeah, and tax is taxation, and you have paper on tax and likewise advanced tax, right? Yeah. And the last one I want to talk about now is the management accountant. Yeah, management accountant. And what do these guys do? These are the guys that are involved with cost management. Some organizations call them cost controllers. Some call them financial planning and analysis, FP&A. They also do budgeting. Yeah, in an organization, they prepare the budget and preparation of forecast, a lot of analysis. These are the guys that do it. These guys called management accountants. They are the guys that deal with things like that. And ladies and gentlemen, this is where this paper fits in that we're looking at, is management accountant space. So everything we'll be doing in performance management in this paper speak so well into the functions and the job descriptions of a typical management accountant. So please pay attention, because this is really a very good skill to really learn beyond passing ACCA. Even for you that want to work in finance space, yeah, it's good to have the skills, and it's going to be a game changer for you, yeah, if you really pay attention and understand the basic principles that we'll be learning in this paper. Yeah, my style has always been, I'm going to be very practical as much as possible. You need to learn not just to pass, but also to be able to apply this knowledge in the real world. Right. So I'll start by telling you one thing that is quite very important. So for management accountant, because they are involved so much in performance of the company, and you wonder which company is not thinking so much about its performance. Practically none. So that is why in any organization you have management accountant. Yeah. So because you want to know how you're performing. So that's why you also see that this paper is called performance management. Yeah. And the very basic or popular, in fact, the most popular way of measuring your performance has to do with how you are doing with cost. And that is one thing I want to tell you. Cost is practically one of the most important part of this paper, cost management. Yeah. So you're going to learn a lot about how to manage cost in this paper, and not just not ideas about how to save cost or whatever, but what are the basic rules and standards or steps you can take generally for any organizations if you're going to put your cost under control. Yeah, and that's when we'll start speaking about it in terms of how do you measure it and how do you control it. So cost controlling is extremely important in this paper. And you wonder, why is cost so important? I'm sure you know that no matter how much revenue you make, if you don't control your costs properly, your profit will be nothing. So revenue minus cost is equals to profit. Yeah. So revenue is about pricing. Sometimes the market might not allow you to even charge so much price, right? So this is somewhat outside of your control. But what is within your control is most times your cost. Yeah. If you make so much revenue without good cost controlling skills, your profit might be zero or even turn to a loss. Yeah. So you need to take note of that. And that is why we'll spend so much time on items that relate to cost. But before we start going into the content in details, let's look at the syllabus. Yeah. So the syllabus is grouped into 5 sections. In fact, 6 actually, but yeah, though we're going to focus on 5 sections. So you have sections A, B, C, D, and E. There is F, but we're not looking at this in this in my video set. Usually that's not really important for exam. So I'm going to focus on A, B, C, D, and E. Yeah, for this. But before I go into summarizing the whole syllabus for you, that is what I love to do, start with any paper. I'll give you a summary of the whole syllabus so that on top of your head you can picture this paper and see everything about it. Yeah, before we now go into the very minute detail of what we're going to be learning. Yeah, but before I go there, let's talk about the exam structure. Let me quickly remind you about the exam structure. Yeah, it's very similar to FM. So exam, you're going to have section A, section B, and section C. Yeah, that is the exam structure. Is A, B, C, just like you have for financial management as well. Yeah, so section A is going to be 2 marks each. Yeah, so you're going to have 15 MCQ. Yeah, 15 questions. Yeah, that's 2 marks each. Yeah, so you're going to have 30 marks from section A. And for section B, you're going to have 3 scenario questions, but each scenario question will have 5 questions each. Yeah, and each question will also be 2 marks. So which means you're also going to have 30 marks for section B. And for section C is going to be, you're going to have 2 questions actually. Excuse me. So you're going to have 2 questions, but each of them will have 20 marks. So invariably, you're going to have 30 marks from A, 30 marks from B, and 40 marks from C. And everything will give you 100% for exams. Right. And usually, how is this going to be tested? Usually, this section C, which is 40 marks, will focus on section C, section D, and section E of the syllabus. So these 3 sections extremely important. Sometimes they also test section A, yeah, but not really big on section A for this C of the exam. So C, D, E, extremely important, yeah, especially for this 40 marks part of the paper. Yeah, section A and B usually can come from any part of the syllabus. So that is exam structure. My style has always been, don't underestimate anything, cover the syllabus. There is no reason why you should leave any part of the syllabus uncovered. You should be very comfortable with all part of the syllabus. Then you are guaranteed that you're going to pass your paper. Right. So now let's go into the summary. So I'm going to summarize this paper. So what I want to do now is a summary of performance management. And please pay attention very well. Yeah, this is a very short video, and I want you to get the understanding of this paper before you even start studying at all. Don't rush into studying. Know exactly what you're doing, why you are doing it, and does it fit into the finance world, which is what I've touched on earlier on. Right. So this paper is divided. The way I'm going to group everything you need to learn in this paper in 3 sections. Yeah. Yeah. The first part, yeah, is current now. What is happening to our company now? We want to know where are we now? What is going on with us now as a company? Where are we? Yeah, that is what we want to. How do we? And in terms of where are we, your focus actually, you're asking yourself, how are we doing on cost? How do we measure our cost? Are we spending too much? Are we spending too little? Can we do better? You want to know how we are doing. So it's about current. It's about now. Yeah, currently. So we're talking about now. And in this part of this group 1 that I'm looking at, this part is just the section B of the syllabus. And what is in section B? Section B is looking at how we can measure cost. So, which means in section B, you will just learn different methods of measuring cost. So, you learn different methods, yeah, of measuring cost. Yeah, so when you learn those methods, you're also going to be asking yourself, what method will be most appropriate for a company and why? So these are the things you will learn in section B. So we're going to learn about appropriateness of that method. Yeah, we will see things like ABC, which is activity-based costing, throughput accounting, target and life costing, environmental management accounting, and marginal costing. So those are different types of costing, but an organization will not use all of them. An organization will pick one that is most appropriate or 2, depending on some factors. So you will learn what are the factors to consider for you to be able to pick the appropriate type of costing method for an organization. And that is section B of the syllabus. And that is about now. Yeah. So now you know where you are. For an organization, you just don't want to stay where you are. You must be able to anticipate the future. You must be able to plan for the future so that you are not being caught unaware. Because if you don't plan, then you are likely going to fail because you want to run on a chance. And no organizations would do well like that. The organizations that don't plan don't stay long, right? So which means the second part, the second group, yeah, of a syllabus of this paper is about planning for the future. So we need to plan for the future. Yeah, we already know where we are now. Now we need to plan for the future. So there's a planning bit, and it's about where we want to be. Yeah, and if you're talking about where we want to be, 2 things will be involved. 2 major things will be involved. Yeah, the first thing is the fact that we will be thinking about making some decisions. So there will be some decisions that have to be taken. So there will be decisions, yeah, that we need to take, and also we need to set target for the future. So we're going to set target for the future. Because if you don't set target, then it's like playing soccer without a goalpost. How do we know when someone has scored? How do you know that you've achieved your future ambition? So you're going to have an ambition. And in terms of decisions that will be taken, you'll be asking, are we going to start a new business? Yeah. Those are the example of decisions that I'm thinking. Are we going to expand? Should we open a new branch? Yeah. Should we grow the business? Or should we even be shutting down the business? So you can have any type of so these are all the kind of decisions that you'll be thinking about. And for you to think about all these decisions, there are a lot of things that will be relevant because you are planning for the future. You need to be able to quantify the cost that is involved in that ambition that you have. Because when you know the cost, then with your projections on revenue, you will tell whether it's a viable decision, whether it's an economic decision, whether it's suboptimal decision, should we not take it or should we take it. So you need to be able to get information about the costs that will be involved in that future, and that is why you'll be looking at relevant costing, because only the cost that is relevant for that future decision will be important in our decision making. So you need to learn how to identify relevant cost. Also, you need to learn how to maximize value, from resources. Remember, you will never have any resource, especially capital, in all abundance or labor, right? So some resources will be limited. We call them limiting factor. So you must learn how to maximize value from this limiting factor. So very important. You will also learn about how to make profit. So you already know the costs that are involved. You want to maximize value from the limiting factor. But also, how do you make profit? So which means you're asking yourself, how do I cover my fixed costs? So that's why things like cost volume profitability analysis will be extremely important. And you'll be asking yourself, to make profit, what price should we be charging? What price should we be charging our customers? So that's why we're going to be looking at CVP and pricing decision as well under decision making. So pricing decision. Because if you don't charge appropriate pricing, you can also run into trouble as you plan for the future. And most importantly, as you will know in finance, we are very conservative. Even when you plan for the best outcome, you are sure, you can never be 100% sure. So nothing is certain. So as part of our plan for success, we must also plan for failure. And that is why we must learn how to make decisions under uncertainty condition. So we're going to learn about how do you manage risk. So we're going to learn all of that. So all these that I've mentioned, these four or five areas with this, that I've mentioned, this is your section D of the syllabus. This is section D. Sorry, section C. So remember where we're coming from. We said this paper is divided into 3 sections. We'll look at now. Now is about measuring cost. Different methods of measuring cost. When we know different methods of measuring cost, then we must know how to choose the appropriate method. Then we plan for the future. When we plan for the future, there are 2 things we must do. We must make future decisions, and also we must set target for the future. So we are looking at the decisions we need to take. Should we start a business? Should we expand a business? Or should we shut down a business? In trying to make all those decisions, we must be able to identify our relevant cost for that decision. We must learn how to maximize value from limiting factors. We must learn how to charge the appropriate pricing and make the right volume. And also we must plan for the uncertainty. So this is section C of the syllabus. Now, setting target. How do we set target? If you don't set target, there's no achievement. So we're going to set target for the future. And what this means is that we'll put values to those targets. Because without values, it's difficult to measure because our target has to be measurable. So which means we're going to do budgeting. So budgeting is like a form of target for us, because if we say our budget is a particular amount, it means that that is a cap for that cost. Yeah. But we'll learn some exceptions and some methods, that you have, types of budget and how you prepare budgets, flexible and all of that. Yeah. So we're going to learn about budget and control, because that is how we're going to set our target. Yeah, and budget and control is a different section entirely of the syllabus, and that is section D. Yeah. So in this place, we're going to be, for the future, we'll be stating how much do we want to spend in terms of cost, and how much revenue do we plan to make, and eventually that will give us a profit information. So that will form like a target for us as we go into the future, right? So you've seen section B now, you've seen section C, and you've seen section D. So I go back, I said there are 3 groups for this syllabus, for this paper. Now, plan for the future. Now, the third one, as you probably expect, is measure results. Because it's not good enough that we know where we are. It's not good enough that we are planning for the future, but it's also important to check whether we've achieved our plan. So we need to know whether we've done well or we've not done well. So we'll be analyzing our result. We'll be checking what we've done. And in that space, how do we do that? We'll do it through variance analysis. Yeah, variance analysis is about comparing your outcome with your plan. Yeah, we'll also look at measuring not just financial performance, but as well non-financial performance. So we're not going to just stick to profitability alone, but we'll be looking at even environmental performance. What are the other non-financial things that you cannot put money to that are also quite important for a particular company? So we'll look at all of that. And finally, we'll also look at the divisional performance, which is like within a company with different divisions. How do you measure performance of those divisions, especially when you know that one division support another division? Yeah, so, and that is why transfer pricing will also be a good concept to look at. So we'll look at transfer pricing, and all of this is your section E of the syllabus. This is section E. Yeah, so section E is about performance measurement and control. We want to look at how we have performed. So now you've seen these sections of this is the syllabus. This is everything about performance management. Just one little thing I'm going to touch on soon. Just wait. Yeah, we're going to look at now, which is section B. Planning for the future is section D and C. Then measuring result is section E. So practically we've touched on section B, section C, section D, and section E. And I've told you that for section F, we're not looking at it for this exam. Yeah, I'm not going to be touching that in my videos for these exams. But, for you to actually effectively assess your current situation, which is section B, plan for the future, which is section C and D, and analyze your results, which is section E, there is something that is very important, and that thing is called information. Information is extremely important. You can't do any of these B, C, D, or E section of the syllabus without having access to accurate and relevant information. So you need complete information, you need accurate information, and you need relevant information. Yeah. So, and that is why there's an aspect of the syllabus called section A, which is about information system. Yeah, so that I will also cover, and with that we will have covered section A, section B, C, D, and E of the syllabus. So that is a summary of the whole syllabus. I'm not sure there's anything that I've left untouched that is important for this syllabus in terms of giving you the general overview and how they are linked together. That is all you have to learn in detail as we move on in this paper. So If you have any comment or question, or if there's anything you want me to pay attention to, please feel free, email me, put a comment. But if you like the video, please don't forget to like it and share the link with your friends as well. Thank you guys.